Welcome to Fiery Discourse, your podcast and media featuring dragonesses, female dinosaurs, and other similar saurians and scalies. I'm your host, Ludmillanon, and with me are my co-hosts, Angron, Mathmachine, the Shark, and Stryker. Today is our 112th episode, and we're discussing the 2014 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles TV movie, Half Shell Heroes Back to the Past. So, let's get things started.
Gotta get back to the past. Wait, that's the wrong character that wants to go back to the past.
Yeah. Well, we do have Leo with katanas. I guess that's kind of like it.
Indeed.
Yep. So yeah, basically the Ninja Turtles, of course, need no introduction. They are probably one of the biggest franchises around, and have been around again for like more than 40 years at this point, or pretty close to it. So it's one of those things that I think at this point they have cemented themselves in popular culture. And the 2012 version of the show was probably one of the most popular ones after the original 87 original. Go ahead, Angron.
Yeah, I agree, and I can see why in certain cases, especially with this. But to be honest, I don't know. There's something about the style and everything that kind of holds it back. Maybe if I watch it a bit more, like with MLP, that was how I got into that and became a brony for it. Fun fact. I might have the same impact on. It might have the same impact.
I can definitely see that because again, it feels like the 2012 version is where I feel like the Turtles really came in their own. Not just kind of the 2003 version, which is still pretty good, but I feel like the 2012 version really went to it combined like the humor and heart of the 87 version, but it also went to really, really dark places. Like we are talking like really, really like not so much adult, but as dark as I think like a kid show could go. That's where it really went to. But go ahead, Shark.
Yeah, I think something that happened in the 2012 version that was kind of really neat is because each turtle kind of became more of an independent character per se. Like, yeah, they always have their own personality quirks, but I think it was here where I think it was the first time each turtle had a completely noticeable different design, because previously it was the same design but with different color on their scarves and all that. And I think 2012 is where they started to become even more distinguishable from each other.
Indeed.
Yeah, I can kind of see that. So, Angron, you were saying?
Also, to give you an idea of how dark this series can actually be, let's just say one of the characters dies, and I'm not going to say who.
It dies like 3 times.
Sorry, 3?
Yeah. Sure. So, Matt, you were saying?
And now we're going to talk about Chibi Kids version.
Yeah.
With only implied death.
Yep, that's for sure. But yeah, this basically was a TV movie called Half Shell Heroes that I think might have been an attempt to do a spin-off version of it, which is for a slightly later audience and probably with a more chibi art style. It probably didn't take because this is the only thing of Half Shell Heroes that I could find. But regardless, I thought it was cute. I thought it was pretty cute. And the TV movie basically begins with a pretty neat stylized intro showing how the turtles are made from the ooze, and they all do poses in front of various structures and that. And the design here is, it definitely is like a chibi version of like the 2012 Ninja Turtles, but at the same time, it has its own charm. I got to definitely admit that.
Yeah, I gotta agree on this. Unlike Teen Titans Go, barring the Doom Patrol stuff, and Thundercats Roar, as much as that's a guilty pleasure, here it's definitely more intentional. They're not going for anything serious, and yet it more or less takes itself somewhat seriously. Not afraid to have fun while doing so, but yeah, it's one of those things that I'm definitely surprised people don't do more of, and people don't talk about more of, especially in an era where Teen Titans Go exists.
Oh, easily. So, Matt, you were saying?
So we're going to be referencing Teen Titans Go a lot in this because the animation style is almost one-to-one. I think that was intentional because this was released just a couple of years after Teen Titans Go, and Teen Titans Go was the it thing of animation for a while.
Yeah, you definitely can see that with stuff like they tried doing it with Thundercats, they tried doing it with a lot of other franchises, and never really took, unfortunately, or fortunately in this case. But Yep. So basically, the TV movie itself begins at night in Times Square, where a white van is being chased by the turtle van. Mikey says that it's the party van, as Raph tells Leo to keep chasing Tiger Claw. And it's here we get to the turtles' voice actors, which are really, really unique because Leonardo is voiced by none other than Seth Green. Michelangelo is voiced by Greg Sipes, best known for playing Beast Boy, and he kind of does the same voice here. Raphael is none other than Sean Astin. So he went from Samwise Gamgee to Ninja Turtles, so that's definitely an interesting career progression there. And Donatello is none other than Rob Paulson, who, in a really funny twist, actually was the only voice actor from the 87 show to come back in a permanent form. But there he played Raph, which kind of a funny change there.
Good night, everybody.
Yep, had to do that. But
yep.
Yeah.
Also, some of the series side antagonists / protagonists, I'll explain why later, Rocksteady and Bebop. Rocksteady in particular is voiced by Tread Tatasquar. I cannot pronounce that last name, so apologies. Who is also known for Rutherford from Star Trek Lower Decks. Keep that in mind because we're going to be referencing Star Trek a lot in this series for the most part. Speaking of references.
Especially when we get to a certain character, yeah. And like I say, they actually do make a joke of that in the special where the 87's Turtles crossovers with the 2012 Turtles because they have Raph and Donnie fight with each other over, why do you sound like me? Why do you sound like me? And it's a pretty good joke.
Yeah, that was funny.
Yep. But Donnie says that according to his GPS, they're going to the Natural History Museum. Sadly, this does not lead to a crossover between the Ninja Turtles and Robin Williams as Teddy Roosevelt. Missed opportunity right there. But Mikey is excited about seeing the awesome laser light show, but Leo says they're probably out to steal something. Raph suggests that Shredder wants a new helmet, one with spikes and leather and tassels all over it, before the other turtles just stare at him in confusion. I love this little moment where Raph just stares at them and angrily turns away and says, tassels are cool. And again, it's one of those moments that this really does feel like Ninja Turtles. It's maybe a more sanitized version, shall we say, of Ninja Turtles, but it still feels like it. It's not like a Secret of the Ooze where they had to make them use like sausage links and yo-yos for weapons.
Yeah, that or the Michael Bay movies, of which we are not exactly going to be talking about.
Exactly.
But yeah, I really like how each of the turtles here have their own character. Not to say they didn't have that in other iterations, especially in the original 80s and the Mutant Mayhem spin-off series, Tales of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles especially. But yeah, I really like the personalities here. You can also see that in their designs, like Raph having a crack, Mikey looking a little rounder, Donnie looking a little more taller and pronounced, as it were, especially with the buck teeth. Like, I really like those touches, and it really helps the turtles stand out. Also helps that, like, I just hear Sean Astin here going like, I like tassels, it's cool. And I just can't help but think of Doctor Who wearing a fez as the 11th Doctor. He's like, fezzes are cool.
Perfect.
Yeah.
But Leo basically tells them all to stay focused before we cut to the other van. Rocksteady is complaining about the van being small as his knees are cramped. And one thing that's interesting about this with the liberty they took, here they made Rocksteady almost like a Russian, and it actually fits his character. Aside from also reminding all of us as heavy weapons guy, which,
Yep. I am heavy weapons guy. And this is my new weapon. That's the point, funnily enough. If you like gave him like a prosthetic over his like black eye, like no joke, it's a black eye with like a blue pupil in it, a bad boy attitude, ditched a Russian accent, and pretty much have him a geek out over technology, you might as well have Rutherford here. I had to make that joke.
I didn't consider that. But basically, Tiger Claw Bebop tells him to stop complaining as he's the getaway driver, before Tiger Claw tells them both to be quiet as he's busy making a plan to steal the Cronite. Rocksteady basically says that he'll be quiet, but Tiger Claw says that he's still talking, causing Bebop to make fun of him, and Tiger Claw gets even more annoyed. They finally arrive at the museum as Bebop and Rocksteady get out, and a really cute touch, it's one of those blink and you miss it details, is when Rocksteady gets out, he's so big, he ends up tipping the van over for like a quick second. Like that's a like quick blink and you miss it joke that is pretty cool. And another little cool element is, it's really a background element, but when they run in the museum, you can actually see the turtles land on the roof.
Yeah, that's also pretty cool. Oh, fun fact about Tiger, whatever. He is actually voiced by Bugs Bunny himself, Eric Bauza,
Huh.
Huh. Yeah.
as well as a few other characters, but we'll get to those later.
Yeah, definitely interesting. So what happens is the turtles slide down on ropes before Mikey. Oh, sorry, Matt, go ahead.
One thing I have noticed with this special, they actually use the fact that it's chibi, pretty easy to animate style to its advantage, because they have been putting in a lot of small jokes, a lot of really quick references, a lot of things that you can do on a smaller budget that you couldn't do in a bigger budget. We have to keep this streamlined kind of production.
Very
Mhm.
true. Very, very good point there. So what happens next, basically, is that the turtles slide down on the ropes before Mikey sees a T-Rex skeleton and screams, falling on the ground. Leo basically yells at Mikey not to touch anything, but Mikey is amazed at all of the dinosaur bones and wants to know more about it. Oh, go ahead, Angron.
Clear, yeah. To all those people out there who say Mikey was definitely dropped as a kid, I point to this and I 100% agree. Also, someone rolled a nat 1 on stealth and made a DM quite gleeful.
Nice, nice.
Until he rolled a nat 20.
Nice. Up, go ahead, Shark.
Also, let's just get this out of the way. Touch.
Yep.
Yeah.
Me to it.
Oh gosh.
Yep. Well, we'll get some more.
Everything.
We'll get some more of that in a little bit. But what happens is, I do like the gag with Donnie starting to explain about what fossils are, but Raph just yells at him, telling him to wake him up after the sciencey exposition. But Leo basically notes they're coming into the museum, as Bebop doesn't know what their mission is. Rocksteady tells Bebop that they're looking for a meteorite with special properties, his words. And after Bebop laughs at him for saying this, Tiger Claw brings up that it's an energy source that fell to Earth 100 million years ago. Rocksteady says that's when primitive humans that walked the Earth. But I like Tiger Claw. He's just so annoyed at this. He just slaps him in the face and he tells him humans didn't exist back then, calling him Rockhead as they walk off together.
Yeah.
And, yep. What happens next is the Turtles, of course, meet up again with them making a plan, with Donnie and Raph fighting Rocksteady, Mikey taking out Bebop, and Leo going to fight Tiger Claw. However, we get another moment
Yeah, cut out a little bit.
distracted by looking at the dinosaur bones, and as he keeps trying to resist, we get like a hilarious quick shot of like the T-Rex skeleton literally beckoning him to touch it, like a come here finger motion. It's one of those things that is such a quick joke, but it is so funny. And that also means that we can add Michelangelo to the list of canonical dinosaur fans. That includes King DDD, Escargoon, and Lightning McQueen.
Yeah. Also, am I gonna have to follow you around for the rest of the day?
Am I gonna have to follow you around all day?
Exactly.
Well, the other turtles probably do have to do that usually, so, yep. But Tiger Claw basically walks over to the Crow Knight as Rocksteady notes that it's pretty, and Bebop says he can make a disco ball out of it. And what happens is Mikey, of course, eventually touches the T-Rex skeleton, and at first, nothing seems to happen, but then the entire skeleton basically collapses all over the place. And of course, the other turtles are beyond pissed at this and yell at Mikey as Tiger Claw notices the turtles. But go ahead, Angron, you were going to say?
1 second. But
Go ahead,
yeah. Oh man, Mikey basically being the goober of the bunch is honestly too fitting. Like before, he's like the lackadaisical party going guy, or like the true autistic person of the group, in spite of Donnie coming up second place for that. But yeah, here it's kind of ramped up to 11 with a dash of ADD to go with it.
Yeah, definitely.
Low constitution.
Yep. But while Mikey basically is busy trying to get his foot out of the T-Rex skeleton as he nervously waves and chuckles, the rest of the turtles all start to fight, with Bebop saying it's on like Diddy Kong as they fight. Well, we can only say one thing. At least it wasn't Bluster Kong.
Huh.
Yeah. Banana Slammer! Missed opportunity right there.
Had to do it, yep. But yeah, one thing I will say is the fight sequence is actually really well done. It feels really impactful at the same time. It still uses the chibi art style to its benefit, basically, you know? It's one of those things where the fight scenes, it still has an impact to it, you know? they could easily have, just like completely sanitized it in that. But no, they actually, like we said earlier, they really made this true to the spirit of the Turtles.
Yeah, I really like how it can go from looking like a freaking flash animation sort of deal, albeit with a bit more polish, to something legit awe-inspiring and pretty amazing to look at. Like the action scenes in general, and like the moments where it's like comedy and like funny and whatnot, for the most part, are honestly a joy to look at. They're animated fluently. The expressions are fitting, and there are like a few nitpicks where like the facial expressions can be a bit too chibi and a bit too anime, but I don't mind it too much. Shark?
Yeah, the fact that they actually let them use weapons this time. Remember when in the movies they had to use sausages and yo-yos?
Yeah,
Yep,
had
exactly,
to do it.
exactly. Thank goodness they didn't do that here. But Tiger Claw knocks one of Leo's katanas away. Bebop tries using teleportation to get away from Donnie, but he uses a smoke bomb, then attacks him with Raph. Mikey taunts Rocksteady, who charges at him, only to get caught inside of a Triceratops skeleton, and what's actually a pretty clever little bit of foreshadowing, and we'll get to why later on.
Yep.
Mikey beats up Rocksteady with his nunchucks while Tiger Claw swipes at Leo. Leo accidentally breaks the dinosaur skeleton, causing it to fall on top of Tiger Claw. Raph manages to grab the Crow Knight as Mikey says Booyaka Shah, which is basically the 2012 version of Cowabunga, for those of you who are like old like us.
Yeah, I don't mind the lingo as much here, though it can oftentimes be a little distracting. It reminding us that, hey, it's a turtle thing. You love the turtles, right? I do, but lingo like that kind of gives me pause. It's not
fair,
too
they
bad,
are the,
but nope.
Besides that going. Yeah. To be fair, they are the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, so it does stand to reason that they would do that.
That is very much fair.
Yep.
Also,
Go ahead, Matt.
Honestly, with the way that they were trying to modernize the lingo, I'm glad that this wasn't made in like 2022, where they would be talking about their skibbity riz.
Don't you
God.
dare joke about that. Don't you dare joke about that. I mean, they didn't do it in Tales of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles or freaking Mutant Mayhem, but imagine if if someone got their way on that. Just imagine.
Yeah, we definitely do not need that. Wow.
No.
But basically, the turtles all escape while all three of Shredder's henchmen make animal noises in a pretty nice touch. We then cut to Ice Cream Kitty, who is literally a cat made out of ice cream. Long story. Who is Mikey's pet, and she is absolutely adorable.
Yeah.
Oh hell yeah, she is adorable.
Yep. She's basically
another fun character in 2012 Turtles.
Yeah, it's one of those concepts that, again, it's so simple, but it's really, really so cute. Go ahead, Angron.
I also like that Ice Cream Kitty and Mikey. Ice Cream Kitty is busy playing the TMNT equivalent of Mario Kart, and all I can think of is she got Mario Kart early. Or maybe she's playing the Super Nintendo version.
Yeah. Basically, it looks like a cross between Mario Kart and Star Fox with the characters.
Yeah.
But Donnie says that he's going to investigate the meteorite in his lab, saying how cool it is as Raph and Leo goes to play video games. It turns out, though, that Ice Cream Kitty was a dirty little cheater because it's revealed she played with both controllers at the same time. And basically, she meows happily as Leo says, "Oh, that's messed up." In a pretty good joke.
Yeah, to be fair, the angry video game nerd got away with playing with two controllers when doing Rob. This, however, is kind of skirting the line.
True. Yeah. But we cut to Donnie in his lab working on the Crow Knight as Mikey shows up and asks, "What is it?" before touching it and getting shocked. So Mikey definitely has an innate thing in him to touch things.
He's channeling his inner Patrick, touching everything.
He definitely is. Yep. Donnie says that the meteorite is even more powerful than the Krang energy crystals. Mikey asks if he could help out with the secret invention he's not supposed to know about, as Raph comes in and asks what it is. Donnie reveals it to be the Shell Former, which turns out to be a giant vehicle that can fly, go on treads, and turn into a giant robot. And yeah, we actually got a TMNT Transformers kind of crossover here. Talk more about that in a little bit, but first, go ahead, Angron.
This would be like 22 years or like 12 years before we actually got a TMNT Transformer in the form of the turtle van becoming a transformer. So this right here definitely made a lot of people excited for that aspect, if and when it was ever going to happen.
Yeah, definitely. Basically, Donnie is about to put the Cronite in the robot as Leo tells him not to, and that they have to take it back to the museum. Raph says that they take it back to the museum, Shredder's goons will just steal it again, as Donnie notes that in the wrong hands, Cronite can be very dangerous. Mikey is excited about seeing it transform and actually starts making transformer noises. That's a joke you certainly wouldn't have had in the 80s show.
Oh yeah.
But
Also.
Yep. Donnie at first appears to be worried about having a giant robot in the middle of New York, but then I love it, that little bait and switch joke. He says, "Okay, I'm down with it." We then cut to the shell former driving down the streets as Bebop and Rocksteady are watching the turtles, and they plan to bring both the turtles and the meteorite to Shredder, saying that they'll get the shell former as a reward. Leo, of course, being his killjoy self, he says that it's an extremely bad idea. And I do like the gag about Donnie pointing out he puts in an ejector seat to anyone that annoys him. And and this comes back like seconds later where Mikey basically hyperactively says he wants it to become a giant robot, and Donnie says, ejector seat. It's part of it is Rob Paulson's delivery, because he does a great job here. He's a legend for a reason.
Yes.
But what happens is Raph instead suggests the rocket jet, as Donnie agrees. The jet takes off, going incredibly fast as Bebop and Rocksteady jump onto it. Just before it manages to crash into a building, the ship disappears and it finally travels back in time. Go ahead and run.
And they just barely made 88 before they crashed into the building.
Yeah, that too. But basically, when they get back to the past, Donnie is navigating his way past volcanoes, with Bebop and Rocksteady falling off the shell former and onto the mouth of a cave. The shell former, meanwhile, crashed into the ground as Raph asks what happened, and Leo points out that it's a bad idea. Donnie then points out that they somehow time traveled 100 million years in the past as the turtles see a group of dinosaurs walk by. So, as Squidward Tentacles would say, this is before manners were invented.
Yeah. Also, two things. One, careful that they don't step on any butterflies. And two, what was the other thing I was going to say? I forgot it. That was basically what I was going to do, the Sound of Thunder reference.
It's all good. Shark, you were saying?
They should remember the tip Homer's dad gave him on his wedding.
Oh yeah. Son, if you go back in time and don't step on anything. Classic.
I just remembered the thing I was going to say. You know how that thing where it's like several millions of years in the past when it was actually billions? They got the thing wrong here.
Go ahead, Matt.
Yep.
No, see, they didn't go back to the past. They blast to the past. Cue title card here.
Nice. Had to say it. But basically, Donnie then points out that you're in the Cretaceous period, as Mikey says this place is, and this is a direct quote, amazeballs, which, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles there.
Yep.
A Stegosaurus approaches, as Raph asks what is it, while Mikey pets it. We get a really funny couple of jokes here, as he asks if they could keep it. Leo sarcastically says, "What do you think the answer is?" And Mikey says, yes. And we see a neon sign flashing yes with a thought balloon in a pretty good gag.
Let that boy keep that dinosaur.
Yep. Raph asks how they got back there, as Donnie says that the Cronite must have overheated and created a hole in the space-time continuum. Before he could explain further, Raph basically screams at him and tells him to make it simple, saying, "Who are we, NASA?" And we get kind of a Family Guy cutaway gag sort of thing with all the turtles in spacesuits. Again, I feel like
that's kind of cute.
Yeah, the art style kind of lends itself to these kind of humor a lot more than the CGI version probably does, and it's always cute when it does happen. But Mikey screams that they went back in time as the cutaway gag literally shatters into a million pieces before Mikey basically talks how much he loves this place. Leo asks how they can get back, as Donnie says they have enough time crystals to get home, but he wants to check out the place for 10 minutes. Leo says it's another bad idea, as they cut to the top of a mountain with a cave in it. Basically, what happens next is Bebop and Rocksteady wake up as they wonder where they are. Rocksteady instantly thinks that they're in New Jersey, to which I have to say only one thing. didn't the Super Mario Brothers movie make the same joke?
Nice. To be fair, King Julian also made the same joke.
Yeah, go ahead, Matt.
I mean, if you look like you're in a desolate wasteland that no one wants to inhabit, you're probably in Jersey.
True.
Nice.
Yeah.
Also,
it makes me think the entire time, do New Yorkers really hate New Jersey that much?
no idea. But yeah, I'm going to take this time to mention something about Bebop that's kind of a gripe with me. His whole Jackson vibe. Like, it works with his dynamic of him being the hip, streetwise punk, while Rocksteady is the big, brutish, muscle, strong man boy. But sometimes the Michael Jackson nods with him doing a Jackson pose, and also hee hee. It can get a little annoying. It's not too much, but it does have its moments where I'm like,
Yeah, I definitely see where you're coming from with it. But basically what happens is we cut back to the Turtles, as Leo says that they saw everything and now have to go back to the future. Ha ha ha.
Yep.
Unfortunately,
Future.
yep. Sadly, we do not get to see Donnie sing the same song that Carl Weezer did when he traveled back in time to the prehistoric era.
Oh,
what a
boy.
missed opportunity that was. But Mikey is amazed that the little compies, calling them crossing between iguanas and chickens, then approaches the Stegosaurus again. He slides down its back as it flings him with his tail into Raph, as both of them land in...
Dino.
Yeah, basically, you said it better than I could.
Yeah, be thankful this is the only poop joke that they make in here, and to be honest,
I guess they had to do
not
it 'cause-
that bad. It could be a lot worse.
Yeah, it could have been worse. Could have been way worse. Let's say it that way. But Raph screams at Mikey and chases him as you see Leo try to tame a Triceratops. Try saying that 5 times fast. After giving it a plant, the Triceratops approaches, wanting more, as Leo says that's it. He's then launched onto its back as it runs through the trees with the other 3 turtles laughing at him. Leo eventually tells it to stop as it does so and launches him to the lake. When he submerges, his head is covered with a lily pad in a cute joke. Meanwhile, a dinosaur is watching this from the bushes and growls at them. Raph, being the typical hothead he is, he basically taunts Leo, saying that the place is really dangerous as a compy steals one of his sai, forcing him to run and get it back. The compy, in a really cute cat and mouse kind of chase thing, it manages to outsmart Raph by hiding in a log and seemingly disappearing, then goes into a tree where it drops the sai right into his foot as the other 3 turtles laugh at how a, quote, chicken star managed to get the better of him. Oh, but first, let's see, Angron, what would you like to say first?
Even when Bugs Bunny isn't on screen, they somehow managed to channel his energy through Eric Bauta.
Yep.
And he didn't even say anything.
Yep, definitely. So,
Also
Shark, you were
Shark.
saying?
Well, all I can think is him saying, "Clever girl."
Oh, yeah.
Yes. They so should have made that reference. I'm shocked that they didn't, come to think of it. But yeah, what happens next basically is that Raph turns around and screams about "Don't make me hurt your faces," and it sounded like kind of like the anime style rage reaction. And again, I do like the little art chips they do here because it is just so much fun that they do that.
Yeah.
Yep. So what happens is Mikey then sees a dinosaur in the bushes and says it's kind of cute, then points out that somebody needs a manicure. But of course, it turns out that this dinosaur is a raptor, and several other raptors come out to surround them. The turtles all scream and run up a tree as Mikey dangles off it before being held back up. Donnie panics on what they could do, knowing that raptors are some of the most smartest predators around, before Raph basically shakes him to get a grip and comes in with a plan. Before they could do that, however, the compy from before shows up and lands on the branch, causing them to fall. The turtles begin to use their weapons against the dinosaurs in another pretty cool fight sequence, but Leo notices there's too many of them. Mikey puts on a pair of paws made from wood and roars to the dinosaurs, seemingly scaring them off. And I love the turtles' reaction in this moment, the other 3, because their mouths at this moment are so hilarious with how shocked they are. And the way Leo says, "Mikey, you're a genius."
Oh man, I can't help but think of that one scene from MLP where it's like Twilight's like, Pinky, you're a genius. I'm not a genius. I'm a chicken.
Classic. It's just, but yeah, go ahead, Matt.
Yeah, as was mentioned a couple minutes ago, I really do like how they actually do use the expressiveness and the anime tropes in this as they're actually intended. Like, there's nothing that's done just, oh, well, it's supposed to have this kind of thing, so we need to put it in somewhere. Like, previous episodes, like the Wee Baby Bears we've talked about before. This feels like they actually understood what this animation style was and used it to its full effect.
Yeah,
Oh, definitely,
absolutely.
Like you said, Wee Baby Bears felt like it was done because kids like the anime, so let's do like an anime. But this feels, again, more at home with the Turtles. I think because number one, the Turtles as a property probably fits the art style more. And number two, you could get a sense that the animators really understood it.
Absolutely.
But what happens is it turns out that it wasn't Mikey scaring them off because a T-Rex knocks down some trees. The turtles scream for a second. We then get a really funny exchange, probably one of the funniest of the special, with Leo saying, "Don't move. T-Rexes have terrible eyesight." And Donnie just says, "Actually, Leo, that's a myth. T-Rexes had better vision than eagles and hawks."
Yeah.
You know, it's one of those things that, it's just, it's one of those things that is like, thank you. You actually acknowledged it, you know?
Yeah, although, like, this reminds me of this one freaking comic where it's like Barney coming into a playroom and it's like the people there are like Sam, freaking the characters from Jurassic Park, and Sam's just like, "Don't move. It can't see. It can't see us if we don't move." And Barney's just like, "Kids?" Like, just imagine if like that logic is applied to that comic, and Barney's like, are we doing statues?" Oh man.
Nice. But basically, what happens is Leo then tells them to run as they do so. The turtles all trying attacking the T-Rex's foot, followed by its tail. However, the T-Rex is not faced with this, and it knocks them away. Mikey runs from the T-Rex in the background as Raph yells at Leo if they have any good plans or plans in general. Donnie says they can't fight a T-Rex even with their ninja weapons, as Raph says to run, with Leo saying that was his plan all along. The turtles continue to run before Donnie is launched into the air by the T-Rex. Before it could eat him, Mikey swings along on a vine and rescues Donnie. We then get to the turtles hiding in a log as Raph says it won't know that they're in here. However, the compy from earlier arrives and, like earlier, it ruins everything by chirping extremely loudly. Alerting the T-Rex, it basically shakes the log in its mouth like an angry dog. Yep. Basically what happens then, it throws it in the air and smacks it away with its tail. The log then breaks as all the turtles fall. Mikey manages to actually use his nunchucks to go to the side of a mountain. The turtles all grab a hold of each other, but a pterodon snatches up Raph. It flies through the various landscapes with Raph hitting his head on like mountains and trees and stuff before being drowned and yells all the way. Unfortunately, we do not know if Gandalf sent the pterodon to take Raph away from Mount Doom.
Nice.
Had to do it. Had to make at least one reference to Lord of the Rings in this. Sorry, folks.
Yeah.
We gotta
Oh
apologize.
man.
That was amazing.
Yep.
Also,
But,
he'll meet.
go ahead,
Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead. Sharky, go ahead.
Also, he'll meet Shin, who was also kidnapped by a pterodactyl.
Huh.
Nice.
There's another reference to that. And don't worry, folks, we'll do that Jimmy Neutron episode eventually on the podcast, if only to talk about Hugh Neutron, Master of Time.
Yeah.
Yep.
Also Scooby, who was kidnapped by a pterodon at one point.
That is also true. Go ahead, Matt.
I love how as Raph is being carried away, he's screaming, "Let me go!" Gets hit in the head. No, wait, don't let me go. Gets hit in the head. No, wait, do let me go. And it just keeps going like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't believe I forgot
Yeah.
about that. Sorry about that. But yeah, that is such a clever, cute little gag there. But go ahead, Angron.
Yeah, that another thing that I like about this series, like the juxtaposition and like the maturity that the turtles show when interacting with the dinosaurs, because we like have Leo who meets Triceratops and is and it's immediately friendly, and it shows Leo that like he can spend it's not really about the destination, it's about more or less the journey.
We have Michelangelo, who's vibing with the Stegosaurus, and like there's not much there to that, but it's still very much effective. And then we have something later for Raph, which we'll get to in a moment, and Donnie, which we'll also get to in a moment. But yeah, it's still keep an ear out for those kinds of things because they will be very much important going forward.
Oh, easily. But what happens next, basically, is that the turtles all they watch the T-Rex walk as Leo says they have to get to the shell former as they run past the T-Rex before getting in and flying off. And it's here one thing I have to point out, and again, sorry we're making so many references to this, but the way Donnie screams and yells, it sounds identical to like Carl Weezer's scream. It's like it really does sound like the same. I wonder if it was like unintentional there, but regardless, go ahead, Angron.
It is Nickelodeon.
Yeah, now I'm imagining freaking Donnie or like Donnie and like either Sean Ashton or freaking Mikey doing that one thing from Jimmy Neutron where it's like ain't no loving my man do up like doing that. I kind of see them do that now. I can't unsee it.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
If only we got that too. But what happens basically is that Leo asks if the other two know where Raph is so they could rescue him, but Mikey says that he's probably eaten by the pterodon and slowly being digested. Donnie basically asks, "Can you be any more disgusting?" As Mikey says, "Certainly," and a pretty good joke. Like I say, I think what helps is that the way the turtles act, they all feel like they're brothers. You know, they really do get that vibe down.
Absolutely.
They know how to get on each other's nerves.
Yeah, but like the turtles, yeah, they definitely got that part of it. But Raph is basically still struggling in the grass of the pterodon, eventually biting its foot so he can jump onto its back. Both he and the pterodon fly around before they crash into a tree and fall on the ground. Raph prepares to fight the pterodon before it screeches and reveals it can't fly because Raph injured it. Raph apologizes and slowly approaches her, putting a bandage on her wing with his med kit, and we get a really hilarious brief cutaway gag where Raph does a ridiculously happy anime face. It is like, it's one of those things that it's hard to describe in words, but it is one of those moments that it is so funny. You know, it's just a quick blink and you miss it thing. Go ahead and run.
And see, this is what I'm talking about with like the whole maturity thing, with like the turtles getting a little bit of a juxtaposition here, with like with Raph being the biggest example, where he's like so hard boiled and like no nonsense, and ultimately like freaking hard headed. And yet we got him tending to a mom giraffe, or at the very least tending to a female pterodactyl. And it's honestly pretty adorable seeing him do something so wholesome, despite his overall aggressive nature. And I really like moments like that, especially in this movie. And we'll see more of them, at least one more later. Go ahead, Matt.
Yep, go ahead.
Yeah, this is one of those so happy faces. I was waiting for someone in the background to just shout, "Kawaii desu desu."
Yeah, unfortunately they didn't, but can't have everything. But the pterodon basically screeches and flies away. We then cut to Bebop and Roxy suiting up in a montage as they show up, and what's interesting is that their slightly new outfit designs, it takes some inspiration from the 87's Turtles, which is a pretty good touch there.
Yeah, I like that. The whole Flintstoneization of their original 80s outfits definitely works on those two merits alone. Referencing the 80s cartoon and also just, blending in with the crowd. Because, when in Rome, in this case Rome, being the ancient past full of goddamn dinosaurs.
Yep. Basically, Roxy is eating a giant wing of some sort as they compliment how cool they look, and then plan to get back to the turtles. However, before they could do so, Triceratons slowly appear from the shadows and approach them as they cower. We then cut to the shell former landing as Mikey runs up to Raph and hugs him, as Leo basically screams that they're supposed to be there for only 10 minutes, which, again, pretty good callback there. Donnie then points out the butterfly effect, to which I will say this. This 45-minute TV movie is way better than the Sound of Thunder movie they tried making. If you haven't seen it, don't see it. It's terrible.
I was just gonna ask.
Yeah, no, it's not good. They made a movie of Sound of Thunder, like 2005. Don't watch it. It is real bad. But
Fair enough.
Yep, but what happens here, the turtles plan on getting out of there, but they're blocked by another T-Rex which roars at them, followed by the earlier T-Rex showing up again. The turtles all go inside the shell former as the T-Rexes both fight with each other before they activate the TurtleBot 5000, which is the actual name they call it. And here basically it transforms into basically a giant turtle robot, which does look really, really cool. Let's be real.
Yeah,
They did a
Turtlebots.
good job with the design of it.
Roll out. Also, as another joke, referencing Markiplier this time, take this, you bastard!
Yeah, good.
Didn't
But
catch that last part.
that's
Shoot.
all right. That's right. It's all right. But basically, like I said, the shell former really is so cool as it basically fights off both the T-Rexes with very dramatic music in that. And again, it feels like, again, for an art style like this, they still manage to actually have the fight scenes. They still manage to actually have, like, know that Ninja Turtles isn't just about the comedy, it's also about the action, which is something that I guess another certain show that came out around this time could have learned. Teen Titans Go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Doom Patrol better.
Yeah, that too. Go
Kenny,
ahead, Matt.
Hey, what was your favorite part of the Ninja Turtle special? Well, I really like the anime kaiju mech fight.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, what?
The moment where someone just goes like, what?
But basically, yep. What happens is the turtles manages to beat one of the T-Rexes, but the other one still tries to attack them as Donnie notes they're running out of power. They grab it with the T-Rex as a laser comes out of the turtle's head as it fires at all the treetops, destroying all of them as the T-Rex runs. The turtles all cheer as Mikey probably says, "Oh, I probably just wanted hugs," with Raph saying it wanted to eat them. But of course, because of all the epic robot fighting, the shell former has run out of power as the Cronite is destroyed, leaving them stuck in the past. Mikey laments the lack of TV, video games, and pizza before an earthquake happens. And I will say this is a better thing with Turtles being caught back in time than Ninja Turtles 3.
Definitely. Also, one thing I was going to mention during you talking about the dino and bot fight, while it's not as prevalent, unlike stuff like the Rise of the TMNT for the most part, and to an extent Tales of the TMNT, like this definitely has impact. The fights, the action, every moment has a very strong impact, and that's something that stuff like TTG and Thundercats Roar do not have. Like, you see action and it's ultimately just like bland, but then you see stuff like this with actual effort, and good lordy, it is night and day with that. I love it a lot.
Yeah, it really, really is a lot of fun there. But basically, the turtles run. An earthquake happens, and as the turtles run to see what's going on, they see a large fence with a guard tower. The turtles climb up the mountain to see the Triceratons are all drilling for basically the energy, and they're also enslaving the dinosaurs as pack animals. Donnie is surprised to see them as Raph notices what they're doing. Mikey is enraged at what they're doing to the dinosaurs before the turtles all duck to avoid a search beam. Leo says that they'll go in to see what they're doing as Mikey tells them to be stealthy. The group sneak across the base with Mikey nearly falling over before they see the Triceratons mining the Cronite again. Donnie says there's enough to get them home as Raph asks how he will get it. Mikey says that he'll take care of it and goes over to take some. And this is probably one of the funniest jokes of the special, really. Mikey accidentally drops some and it makes a loud noise, but the noise does not alert the Triceraton guard. Mikey then says, "Whoa, that was close," and then he knocks down like the entire cart and several others, and the turtles just like glare at him. It's one of those jokes that, again, it's just so silly and yet classic at the same time. Oh, go ahead, Math.
So a race of dinosaur-like people are enslaving dinosaurs. Man, this Star Fox Adventures movie is actually turning out pretty good.
Yeah, nice. Yeah.
If only Crystal was here. If only.
Yeah.
It is Dinosaur Planet after all.
That is true. That is very true. Let's see. Go ahead, Angron.
Yeah. What was that you were saying about being stealthy, my ninjas, Mikey? Uh-huh. Yeah. Stealth is kind of a ninja's bread and butter, and you, my friend, are rolling all the nat ones on stealth right now. All the nat ones.
Yep. definitely. And Shark?
Yeah, with those stealth abilities, they will never be able to get Patrick's secret box.
Nope, definitely not. Even though Patrick is a heavy sleeper, it still wouldn't help in this case.
Spider!
Yeah, God, that's another one, but still. Basically, what happens next is that, of course, Raph screams, "You are dopier than that dinosaur over there," as he points to one that roars. Turtles then try to attack the Triceratons, and their weapons do nothing, as Triceratons send the Robo-Raptors after them. The Turtles run away from the Robo-Raptors as they're cornered by a cliff. The Turtles try to fight them off, again, a really cool action sequence, but it turns out that the Raptors are both too smart and there's too many of them. However, before the Turtles can do anything else, we get to see the dinosaurs that they all met earlier. They all leap in and saves them, and Raph basically says, "This is one of the top 5 coolest things that we've ever seen," and he's right. He's right in this case.
Yes. Also, who's the clever girl now?
Nice. Go ahead, Matt.
This was funny to me. One of the things that's a very recurring joke whenever the Triceratons see the turtles is they call the turtles aliens, and my pedantic ass was like, well, actually, they're the native inhabitants of this planet. You are the extraterrestrial aliens from another world.
I mean, given how they look, I wouldn't exactly blame the Triceratons for seeing them and thinking, "Oh, good lord, the little green men, shoot!"
That could also be a reference to the fact that in the infamous Michael Bay version, the turtles were going to be aliens.
Oh boy.
Yeah, they were going to do that. They actually were going to do that in the 2014 Turtles movie. They were going to retcon their origin, but they cut it out. But then they kept some of it in the finished movie, and yeah, it's not good. But
honestly, if they went for that route, it would have at least been unique. Not exactly faithful, but unique, if you catch my drift.
Yeah, definitely. But what happens next is that we cut back to Bebop and Rocksteady being imprisoned by the Triceratons, so they call them strange looking, as Bebop tells them to look in a mirror. Rocksteady takes a cue from Mikey, and then he tries to touch the laser cell, but is shocked. Bebop notes that they took all his weapons, but didn't check his boot. After pulling out various items, he then takes a shuriken and uses it to deflect the laser, which blows up the panel and releases them. The pair try to run, but Rocksteady steps on the panel that starts an alarm, and the two try to run away, and we then get to like another Family Guy style cutaway gag because they run away in the same way that Mario runs in the original arcade Donkey Kong, complete with them being chased by a barrel and making like the Donkey Kong arcade noises, which definitely a little random reference there. It's cute, but definitely something that, they couldn't even reference Mario World, the Mario game that took place in Dinosaur World.
Yeah, Riznor's, Rex's, and Yoshi's when.
Yep. But the pair seemingly make it out, but they're caught by none other than General Zera, who appears behind them and says that the prisoners are trying to escape. And it is because of her why we are discussing this special, because the dinosaurs are really cool and they're really a part of it, but I feel like basically the Triceratons are the main villains, and as such they have more to talk about. And yeah, General Zera is a great character. She's voiced by Kate Mulgrew, aka Captain Janeway from Star Trek Voyager, which also makes her the second time a Star Trek dragon from outer space, after Cosma from OKKO, who was voiced by Troy.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Also, despite just necessarily being a freaking headstrong, more or less brutish Triceraton, she actually has a level of intelligence about her that not only inspires command, but also helps her stand out as one of the more competent villains in the series. And despite, also leaning into the madness from time to time, which we'll get to, because let's be fair, it's still oriented for kids, and we got to have some form of comedy to make her interesting.
And again, that's like, I think they play it out of her with that. But yeah, her design is really, really good, because She has kind of like a more like rotund figure, and we'll get to more of that in a couple of minutes.
Yeah.
But
Also,
yeah, they
Math.
definitely. Oh, sorry. Yeah, go ahead, Matt. Sorry.
So first, if I had a nickel for every time we talked about an orange lizard lazy from space that was voiced by a Star Trek actress, I'd have 2 nickels, etc.
Yep.
Yep.
As you were saying. But yeah, this is voiced by Kate Mulgrew, so I am very happy anytime we get Kate Mulgrew. I love her as Janeway. I love her as Flemeth from Dragon Age. She just has a great presence and regality to her voice, and that is instantly translated as soon as you hear this character talk.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Also, I like her design as well. Like, it's more unique compared to the Triceratons. Her head frills and horns give her a more Styracosaurus-looking design instead of just your basic Triceratops.
That
look.
is very true. It very well could be kind of based on that when you think about it. Also, I also like that with her personality, they made her very domineering and like no nonsense, which makes her really stand out from the special in a way.
For now.
Yep.
For now, but we'll get to more of that in a bit. She orders General Zerg to take them to her command center, but Zerg can't do that. He still needs to get his transdipulator.
Yeah.
Nice.
You know, as soon as I heard that name, I knew I had to make that joke.
He
But-
used it in a sentence.
Berserk.
Yeah, classic. But Bebop tries convincing the Triceratons that Rockstay is one of them because he has a horn like them, to which, of course, that obviously doesn't work. And a really good gag, the next prison that they're in, it's like a little pet carrier. And again, that's a really, really cute joke there. As Rockstay laments at their plan not working, as Bebop wants to listen to the plans that the Triceratons have, Zera says that the crystals are basically going to empower them to where this Triceratons can travel through all of space and time and restore their empire to rule the galaxy. I like after this big, like, grandiose speech he gives, one of the Triceratons is like, "Oh, that sounds great!" Which, again, is one of those gags that is so simple and yet really works. But Bebop notes that that's terrible, as Rockstay says they need to all get out of there. But what happens next is we then cut to the Turtles all riding on their new dinosaur friends, as Leo says they have to go back and get the time crystals to go home. Donnie is the only one not on a dinosaur, as Mikey says that he needs one. Donnie says that he doesn't need one, as Raph teases him about liking dinosaurs, but Donnie says he doesn't after being so close to them. Mikey then jokes about getting a duck-billed dinosaur before the giant T-Rex from earlier appears and roars. The turtles and all the dinosaurs all run into a cave before the T-Rex gets caught in the mouth of it. But go ahead, Angron.
Yeah, interesting thing about that moment where he's like duck-billed dinosaur. Freaking Mikey looks to the side and like his face looks very much like a parasaur-looking thing. And honestly, all I could think of that moment was Pikachu would be so proud.
I definitely get to see that. Classic. But yeah, what happens then is that Leo berates Mikey from getting him all trapped in the cave before Mikey says he has a plan. And of course, because it's the Turtles, it involves one thing. Pizza. Yep. Mikey pulls out a slice of pizza from his shell as Raph and his dinosaur facepalm at this. Mikey gives the slice of pepperoni, maple syrup, and peppermint pizza to Donnie and tells him that no creature in any time period can resist pizza. To which I have to say only one thing. Peppino would be proud.
Yes.
Yes.
Yep. But Donnie slowly approaches the T-Rex as Raph asks for his stuff, obviously knowing that he's not going to make it. Donnie slowly holds up the pizza to the T-Rex as it sniffs at him, then eats the slice. It turns out, true to the Ninja Turtles, that pizza solves everything, as the T-Rex is now a docile animal acting like a dog, basically.
Fun fact about that, actually. T-Rexes were, upon further examination, had the mental capacity to legit be pets at some point. Or at the very least, were considered to be pets, or considered to have pet capacity. You know what I mean.
Yep,
They can
all
be
good.
domesticated, basically.
Basically, yeah. Matt, you were saying?
I remember watching this scene And when the T-Rex rolled over and started panting like a dog, I just said out loud, "You gotta be kidding me." And not more than 5 seconds later, I believe it was Raph that said, "You gotta be pulling my shell." To which I just said, "Okay, Special, you win. You understand me perfectly. You're in control here. You know better than I do."
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. It's like they're saying, yeah, we know this is ridiculous. We know it's stupid, but what can you do?
Exactly.
He steps outside as Raph asks if he's going to ride the T-Rex. Donnie says that's crazy, but then all the Triceratons arrive again and begin shooting at them, causing Donnie to climb onto the T-Rex. It roars at a Triceraton, causing them to flee as Mikey notes how cool this is. He says that they'll get the meteorite and go home, but Mikey says that we need cool costumes in order to do this. Cue an action montage, which is literally what he says. And, as Mikey said, we get just that, which consists of various little gags like Mikey powering a giant sewing machine by chasing a pizza, the turtles all making weapons out of prehistoric materials, except for Donnie, who literally just picks up a giant stick and holds it with a blank expression on his face. And
Yeah.
the turtles all putting masks on their dinosaur companions in a pretty cool moment. But go ahead, Angron.
Yeah, even in the freaking dinosaur age, Donnie's stuck with the stupid staff. But yeah, like that honestly got an honest to goodness laugh because like he's just like, yep, this is my life.
Yeah, that's a really good moment there. But like I
Definitely.
say, after that, the montage, we cut back to Bebop and Rocksteady, who are all trying to make escape plans. But I like how literally they're making the plan right with General Zera basically right next to them, and she just stares at them like, "You idiots! That'll never work." Before
Yeah.
Bebop basically whines in response. However, go ahead.
Yeah, it's like freaking Rocksteady and Bebop. All right, here's the plan. We're going to do this and this and this and this. Zera, meanwhile, you serious?
You serious?
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, what happens next basically is that one of the Triceratons basically tells Zero to go to the view screen and sees the turtles having domesticated the dinosaurs. Bebop and Rocksteady say they're going to be beaten by the turtles and they're going to help them out. However, she orders basically the Triceratons to round up all the troops, surround the perimeter, and send the Robo-Spinosaurus.
Nice.
Yep, and we cut to the turtles all running towards the stone wall before it bursts open, revealing the Robo-Spinosaurus, which roars. Which, two things. Number one, I'd like to think that is a Jurassic Park 3 reference with it breaking through the security gate in the exact same way that the Spinosaurus in that movie does. Number two is that the Robo-Spinosaur looks really, really cool. Its back fronds are actually a gigantic buzzsaw. So you can tell whoever was designing this thing definitely had a lot of fun with this design.
Absolutely. Like this is the kind of shit Wily or Eggman would make, and yet it's made by freaking alien Triceratops, or at least alien Ceratopsians, and it's badass, especially with like the white face on top, with it looking like a sort of white bone mask. I like that detail a lot.
Oh, definitely. It is great. But what happens basically is that the turtles begin to fight the Robo-Spinosaurus, but it's too advanced and too big as it beats all of their attacks. Raph tries to lure it away as it knocks Leo off his dinosaur and is about to eat him. And a really funny gag, it cuts to the Triceratons, including Zera, all basically cheering at this. But when Donnie and his T-Rex manage to save Leo, they go, "Aww!" And again, it's such a cute, joke. And you wouldn't expect Zera to be a part of this, but the fact they do that is great. Oh, go ahead, Shark.
Yeah, that's what I mean, because up to this point, Zera has been, like you say, the nonsense person, the serious one, the you cannot act like a child in front of me. And then this moment happened, and oh, okay, she's not so above all after all.
Yeah, I like this moment because like it showed her as like a domineering presence that ultimately feels more like a force of nature than an actual being. And yet we got moments like this where he's like where she shares in her soldiers' excitement, and then she's immediately like, "Oh, what the hell?" And it honestly humanizes her a little bit, and I like that a lot. Also, I hear the awe moment, and all I can think of is the original Super Smash Bros. For the N64, where they like
Kind of does
the,
sound like the break the targets effect. Huh.
yeah, it kind of does.
Oh, I wonder if that's intentional. Let's see, who's next? Matt, you were saying?
Yeah, normally with a Kate Mulgrew role, I expect that she's just going to be very regal, very dignified throughout the whole thing. I was not expecting, and from this point forward, that she was going to do the yucks, and she really gets into it.
Yeah, I like it so much. Like it would honestly make a character like her bland if she kept on going super serious all the time. But her actively getting her butt handed to her by a bunch of turtles, especially ones who are less experienced than her for the most part. It's honestly nice seeing her give the expected reactions, and yet in a way that's honestly kind of over the top. And again, I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is another reason I love her as an actress. She understood what she was in and acted against character.
Definitely.
Oh, it definitely works out great. And yep, what happens next basically is that eventually Mikey, Raph rather, uses the giant drill to blow up the Robo Spinosaurus, which when it explodes, it basically blows off all of the clothes of the Triceratons, including General Zera, which allows us a view of her, shall we say, rather fully formed figure.
More or less, yeah. It's blocked by some of the Triceraton guards, but yeah, that was 100% intentional, and it's hilarious every time I see it, because, like,
It's more visible in the next shot, to be honest.
yes,
That's true.
very much so.
That alone is gonna boost the score. Let's do it that way. But
Yep.
Matt, you were saying?
So yeah, this is probably the most adult shot, quote unquote adult shot in
Yes.
this. All I gotta say for this is, damn boy, she thick.
They
Yeah.
all thick.
But
They all thick.
my favorite part of this is another blink and you miss it thing. All of the Triceraton guards that are in front of her, they each have turtle underwear, and it's a different one of the turtles.
Yes.
Huh. That is really, really clever. I did not notice that on my first viewing, but seeing it now, wow. Huh. That is definitely another neat thing. And also, go ahead, Shark.
We have minutes to get rid of these guys. Otherwise, the plan we have building for centuries goes in flames, and you're wearing their underwear.
Yeah, you're wearing
Perfect.
their merchandise. One Triceraton comes in with like a turtle's
perfect.
cup, and he's like,
Perfect.
thirsty?
But yeah, basically, what happens next, of course, is that we cut to basically the turtles lunging at the Triceratons, fighting them all off as Zero basically yells at them before picking up Bebop and Rocksteady. She demands them all to stop fighting as they do so with a record scratch effect. She demands that she'll destroy their mutant friends, as Donnie basically points out, they're not our friends. Hey, how'd you get here in the first place? In a moment that, again, really fits because it's at that point you realize, oh, right, they didn't know Bebop and Rocksteady went back in time with them.
Yeah. Also, calling them friends would be pretty generous, to say the least. And second, during that fight, there's a legit background moment, a sort of blink and you miss it, where there's this one Triceraton with Raph patented undies, who's like on the ground in sort of a semi Peter Griffin pass out pose, and it's honestly kind of hilarious. And what makes it even more notable is that guy in particular is the one that is the most caked up, like the most pronounced butt in the entire series for the most part. Like almost as much as Zera, but let's not split hairs here.
Yeah, again, I wonder if that was an intentional reference to the infamous Family Guy death pose, but regardless, it's a really, really cute moment. But what happens next, basically, is that basically Zera knocks their heads together and tells them to surrender their weapons. The turtles all then throw down their weapons as Zera asks if they accept defeat. But Leo says that they nor their dinosaur friends do. And yep, all the dinosaurs appear behind her as the T-Rex knocks her away with its tail. She growls as we cut to the dinosaurs and Bebop and Rocksteady all fighting off the Triceratons. The turtles all take on General Zera, manages to kick and punch her before knocking her into a wall. However, in a really badass moment, she instantly just bursts out of the rubble like 2 seconds later, which shows how tough she is. Go ahead, Angron.
Yeah, I like this. I like the particular moment here as well in the fight where like everyone's fighting, and then at one point you see Bebop just freaking pelvic thrust in the air a Triceratops guard away, and it's honestly kind of funny and makes his whole Michael Jackson shtick honestly kind of hilarious in that regard. It's not always funny, but when it works, and that moment right there definitely works. Also, Zera throwing the freaking throwing Rocksteady and Bebop is honestly pretty intense and pretty awesome. Again, domineering.
Easily. Very much so. Yeah. But like I say, there's a lot of really cute like background moments of this too. It's one of those things where it's more like visual than anything else, and when you do watch it, it looks really, really great.
Definitely.
Easily. So what happens next basically is that she demands that the Robo-Raptors destroy them and the dinosaurs. However, they're all attacked by the Robo-Raptors, so they all fight them off. Leo asks Donnie to reprogram the Raptors, which one of the funniest background gags in this moment. We see Mikey fighting off two of them with a very silly, like almost cartoonish expression on his face, and it's hilarious. It's one of those things that, again, it's real like blink and you miss it kind of deal.
Yeah.
Yep, it's a really, really great moment there. However, Donnie goes over to a terminal and begins typing in it before Zera actually pulls out a ray gun and prepares to shoot him. Which, again, just shows how, like, again, I do like how they made her, like, have comical moments, but they still kept her serious, you know?
Definitely. Like, she is not above being subjected to the occasional gaff or two, but she is 100% at her core a general, and she is more or less treated as such in spite of those gaffes.
Yep.
Yeah,
But
truly
basically,
no nonsense.
easily. But before she can fire, Bebop shows up, kicks the gun out of her hand, and says, "Told you we'd help," before she basically starts beating him up. However, Donnie finally manages to reprogram all the raptors as their eyes turn from red to green. They start panting like dogs, so they look at the Triceratons, seeing their heads as food, including Zera. And, go ahead, Angron.
Another interesting blink and you'll miss it moment, like, at one point, you see Mikey being surrounded by the two Raptors from before, except this time, one of them is holding a palm leaf and fanning it, while the other is holding something. I forget if it was a tray or something, but it's one of those bizarre blink and you miss it / what the hell? Where did that come from moment?
Yeah,
and I'm just like,
easily.
huh?
Yeah, easily. But what happens, of course, is that Zera orders them all to retreat as they all run back into their base with the Raptors chasing them. And yeah, this is actually the last time we see them in the special, sadly.
Yeah, it's very much implied that they were eaten, but it's still up in the air what truly happened to them. Either they escaped, they were sent back to their own time via the Cronite or something, or they ultimately were killed by the Roboraptors. It's unclear, but it's definitely interesting to think about.
Yep. But basically what happens is the turtles all do a pose with their dinosaurs as Bebop and Rocksteady arrive, saying they're all a team. However, Leo says they won't leave them there, but they do have to turn over a new leaf. Unfortunately, we are not talking about the Animal Crossing game, as Bebop literally does so by threatening a leaf by going, "Hey, leaf, turn over!" as it eventually does show. And Leo's anime reaction here is so funny, you know?
Yeah, it's honestly funny. Just like Bebop hearing this, he's like, "Hey, yo, turn over, leaf! You do it right now!" And then the leaf is just like, "Okay, man." See?
It's great. But basically, what happens next is that Raph basically tells him to go get the crystals, as Donnie says that he can salvage the Robo dinosaurs for parts, but then realizes that he still has to calculate the correct position for them to get back to the future. We then cut to 3 days later, where the turtles have finally finished fixing the shell former. They all say their goodbyes to the dinosaurs, with Leo giving his a granola bar, Mikey being in tears over losing Maurice, Donnie getting licked by his T-Rex, and Raph trying to act all tough with his pterodon but as soon as it flies away, he sheds a single tear. And then, in a really cute joke, he hides the tear behind his back when the other turtles show up. Which, again, is one of those jokes that it's hard to explain. It's just a simple, cute visual gag that really, really works.
Yeah, this is what I was talking about earlier about the dinosaur, about the turtles and the dinosaurs having an interesting juxtaposition and dynamic. Like the dinosaurs bring out something in the turtles that definitely you don't see too much of. You see Leo at first being hesitant about the dinosaurs, but the dinosaur definitely wants Leo to reciprocate the feelings, and in the end, Leo is just like, yeah, you are 100% brother for life, and here's a candy bar for it. You see Michelangelo absolutely being on board with this, but then eventually he has to give his tearful goodbye to his buddy, which that's a thing, but it still works, trust me. And then you get Donnie and Raph. Donnie at first was like absolutely terrified of the dinosaurs, but then he immediately warms up when he befriends the freaking T-Rex, like building up his courage and even like getting an occasional gap here and there with the lick. And then we get Raph like showing his more sensitive side to a creature he accidentally hurt and then helped get back on its feet, or wings in this case. I like those moments. They're great.
Oh, easily. Like I say, I do like that. Even for a show like this, they give him a lot of character development. You know,
Definitely.
that's definitely a good moment right there. But basically, what happens next is that Leo says if anything else can go wrong, as Donnie says Murphy's Law before stammering that everything probably will be fine. Mikey says he can't wait to get back to the lair to watch TV, as Donnie notes he had to do exact calculations on where they have to go, before Raph basically pulls the thing from SpongeBob and tells him to floor it.
Punch it, man.
Yeah, but they finally make it back to the future, haha, again. But it turns out it's a dystopia with red buildings and signs on Times Square that all says stuff like obey, consume, sleep, obey, which, number one, anything that references they live like that is really, really cool. They get points to me for that alone.
Yeah. Also, looks like they ended up in the Man Ray future.
Yep.
I was just about to say that too. That unfortunately we do not get to see the designated area where Man Ray, your ruler, permits you to purchase sandwiches by using Man Ray dollars, and that is the name of an actual location on the show.
Yes.
Oh, go ahead, Shark.
Yeah. As it turns out, he finally did it. Shredder finally conquered Earth.
Yep. I do like before that the little gag where Bebop and Rocksteady are wondering where they are. Mikey sees like that it's night out and he goes, "Dude, check it out. We're on the moon."
Nice.
Yeah, it's so classic. But it turns out that, as Shark said, Shredder did take over the world because instead of the Statue of Liberty, there's a gigantic statue of Shredder holding up his fist, basically in triumph. Donnie asked if they could check it out for only 10 minutes. And before that, go ahead, Angron.
Yeah, another little detail that you notice is that around the Shredder, you see 2 katanas, a staff, nunchucks, and 2 sais. Take a guess as to what those could be for referencing. As in, it implies that Shredder actively killed the turtles in this timeline, which is definitely interesting. And if it was allowed to be explored more, we definitely could have seen how the Turtles, Rocksteady, and Bebop could have impacted this future timeline in the hopes of getting back to their timeline. But sadly, we don't.
Yeah, definitely would have been interesting, but the special ends basically Leo say that they could check it out for about 10 minutes or so, with the Turtles, Bebop, and Rocksteady all leaping towards the camera and getting ready to basically check out this future and probably fight this version of Shredder. And yeah, like I said, this was a very, very good special. I had a lot of fun. They didn't make any other specials of like the half shell heroes, and for what it is, I really, really enjoyed this one. You know, it's a lot of fun. I feel like, you know, if you have kids and you want to get them into Ninja Turtles, this is probably a good place to start with it. But at the same time, it doesn't feel dumbed down, you know? It doesn't feel like they had to compromise anything for like how the Ninja Turtles basically react in that. Go ahead, Math.
Yeah, I think this is the one thing I can complain about, and if this is my one complaint about a special, it's actually really good. I loved everything up to the ending. When the ending had that sort of cliffhanger ending, I was like, oh, cool. There's going to be a second part. I can't wait to see that. Looks through everything. There is no second special.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well,
What a missed opportunity, because again, with this ending, there is so much stuff you could do with it. You know, it really is something else. Up, go
Yep.
ahead, Angron.
And here's my sequel, The Half-Shelled Heroes Blast from the Past. If I had one!
Yes. Classic. But basically, what happened? Basically, yeah. Even though General Zera, sadly, this is the only appearance she would ever make in anything Ninja Turtles related. She didn't show up in the 2012 show, even though it could have easily happened.
Yeah.
However, a character based on her did appear in a Ninja Turtles thing. She was in the IDW comics, and she is called General Zom. We will talk about her definitely in the future on the podcast, because it'll be a lot of fun basically to talk about that, compare and contrast kind of deal.
I
Definitely.
mean, hey, I have an excuse to read the comics now.
Same.
That too. And yeah, now it is time for the question of the week, which is, what's your favorite Ninja Turtle memories and that, or basically things with that? And I'll go first. And I kind of grew up in the time period that was like post 87, pre 03, where the Turtles are kind of in this weird quasi limbo of being like a forgotten property. I mean, people don't realize there was a time when the Turtles easily could have been just another 80s fad, like brushed off and like dusted aside and that. But
Indeed.
one thing I do remember is probably seeing is the movie on TV, granted, which is the live action movies, which the first one is an absolute legendary film. You had Jim Henson himself doing the animatronic work in one of his last roles. And one thing to point out about the Spanish version is that they wanted to make sure it wasn't for kids. And the reason how they did this is by adding a lot of swearing to the Turtles dialogue.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Clearly some
Cowabunga
changes
in this
were needed.
version, I'm going to say this verbatim. Cowabunga in this version of the 1990 Ninja Turtles movie, I kid you not, and they scream this at the end loud and clear. They say, "De puta madre." They actually did that. I kid you not.
Oh,
They
wow.
actually
Okay, then.
did that. It is so insane that they actually like did that in the 90 movie. I think it was an attempt to make it seem more adult than the cartoon, but I mean, it is just so weird. Like I say, it's one of those things that that again is like, it is so crazy. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. And yeah, the other thing too is I remember also seeing again the 87 show sometimes on TV. I think the first time I was introduced to the 2012 show was on Clan, which is the local regional channel. And yeah, it really was one of those things that I think Turtles are one of those things that, unlike Pokemon, I didn't really grow up with. It's one of those things that I kind of saw with like brand new eyes, and I like it. I really do like it for what it is. It is a lot of fun. It's a really great franchise. It's one that I feel like Scooby-Doo, like SpongeBob, like basically anything like it. It's one of those kind of shows I feel that has basically cemented itself in pop culture, like Mickey Mouse or Bugs Bunny. It's one of those things that there will always be Ninja Turtles in some form of capacity.
Definitely.
Yeah. But no, like I say, definitely the 90 movie is really great. And again, the action is great, and Jim Henson did a great job. Strangely enough, he did not like it. He actually felt it was far too violent, and apparently shortly before his death, he actually said he regretted working on it. Despite that, apparently he was going to start work on the Secret of the Ooze before that came out.
Mm.
Yep. And I can't mention Secret of the Ooze without mentioning, hey, remember Vanilla Ice? Okay, yeah, had to do that. But yeah, that's going to be my Ninja Turtle memories, was seeing the 1990 movie on TV and basically just being amazed at, because again, it really is amazing, because it's like, it really is almost like a kung fu movie and things like that,
Definitely.
It really, they did a fantastic job with it. But yeah, that's going to be my choice for my Ninja Turtle memories, was watching the 1990 movie on TV and also catching some of the 87 show. And what would yours be?
Not too many Ninja Turtle moments off the top of my head, though I think I can name about 3. So the first one would definitely have to be the 80s and 2003 cartoon. Like, I didn't exactly grow up with the 80s. I caught like 1 or 2 episodes on VHS at my grandparents' place. But I definitely grew up with the 2003 show. Like, there were at least a few episodes I saw that 100% I was down for, though not exactly enough for me to be a turtle maniac like most people. But I still liked it. The second one, however, was the 2000s TMNT movie. Not the Bay one, but the one that was CG and that it had Mako in it shortly before he passed away.
I remember that one. Yes, that's the one that had like Patrick Stewart as the main villain, and it had all like the giant monsters, and it also had that was actually really really good. I remember that one. It's a shame they didn't have.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
I will say though, I honestly thought the story here was sort of related to the 2003 film and show. Sorry, and as such, I was like, huh. I might need to go back and watch this show to get a better idea of the Turtle movie. I don't know if that's true or not, but it probably isn't. But still, I very much enjoyed this movie, and it was more prevalent than the 2003 show was for that reason. Then we finally get to the last 3, the more modern memories, as it were. The first being Shredder's Revenge, and what ultimately decided to get me to dig a little deeper into the lore of the Turtles for the most part, namely the 80s show. It's a beat 'em up, and yet it's pretty amazing for it. They got some of the voices back for the 80s show, and they also got like some pretty impressive designs in the form of the people who made fricking Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. It was amazing for that reason. And then we have the Mutant Mayhem movie, and good lordy, I love it. Yeah, it's basically following the trend of stop motion CG like Spider-Verse and a bunch of other films we're doing at the time. But this 100% works. It's unique, it's fun. The Turtles are actual teens instead of like, just having adult people voice teenagers, quote unquote. And also, Tales of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. That is an amazing show. There's a character in it that I definitely hope to talk about in the future. Lee the Eel. We'll talk about her more in the podcast later. Yes. But yeah, I 100% love that. Like, those are going to be all my memories. And that is definitely going to join them. And I can't wait for the sequel, to be honest. Like, it's unique enough that it differs itself from the OG TMNT series, but it still stays true to what the TMNT ultimately are: Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and them being based more on animals this time instead of people transformed into animal-like people. It's definitely a change. And while I respect stuff like Batman versus TMNT for doing that, I've talked about that already, and it's definitely going on the Turtles' memory for that. Hi, Mr. Freeze. But yeah, here it's a lot more unique, and the media around it, it's certainly interesting. I definitely want to check out the game that came from this movie, and I also want to check out the freaking sequel if and when it comes out. And if they ever decide to do more Tales of the TMNT, I am for that. But yeah, those are going to be my memories.
Yeah, those are definitely, like I say, I forgot all about the 2007 movie, and I thought it was actually really, really good,
The 2007
Definitely.
movie is like one of my favorites, but it is actually one of the most hated movies in the community, apparently.
Same.
In the fandom.
Same.
Yeah, it's a real shame.
Yep. But let's see, Matt, what would your pick be for your favorite Ninja Turtle moments or memories?
So I particularly like the 03 series and the 07 movie because they were a lot closer to the comics than the original series. I liked how they got dark and mature and weren't afraid to tell the storylines rather than having to kidify them, because it was the 80s and early 90s, as was the style of the time, etc., etc.
Definitely. Also,
Uh,
yeah.
I say that, but my personal favorite memory from those two things, and this just, I don't know why this lives rent free in my head. I think about this one a lot. It'll just randomly pop up. Is from the '07 movie, the Black Betty fight.
Oh,
Oh.
right.
It was so weird to have a very well choreographed and animated fight scene to Black Betty, but they made it work, and it's actually one of the coolest action fight scenes I've seen in animation. It still holds up really well to this day. They do a lot of creative camera work. They do a lot of inventive scene play, and it does one of my favorite things with action fight scenes when the music just completely cuts off and it looks like the fight's over, and then the monster just instantly pops back up again, and the music kicks right back in like it hadn't missed
Yeah.
a beat.
Talking about the comics, actually, you reminded me of the Power Rangers and TMNT comic that I read fairly recently. One last year, the other this year, more or less, and both are pretty amazing. I like the second one more for very obvious reasons that we're going to talk about later on the podcast. But yeah, I gotta agree. Like, referencing the comics is not a bad thing, especially with games like I'm sorry, with stuff like the TMNT Platinum games game that was made. Yeah, I'm really stuttering here. I apologize, but
It's okay.
yeah, I really think calling back to the Laird and Eastman comics is definitely a good thing, especially with the Last Ronin being as popular as it is, and a bunch of other comics doing the same.
Yeah, I definitely can see where you're coming from there. So let's see. Shark, what would your favorite Ninja Turtles memories or moments be?
Well, similarly to you, I wasn't that big on the whole Ninja Turtle craze. Like, oh yeah, I do recognize the show. I see the characters. Some costumes had toys and all that, but yeah, like the early ones didn't really do it for me. Like the 90s, no. The 2003, no. It wasn't until the 2012 ones that I don't know why I just saw an episode and said like, huh, this version is like way more interesting than the others. And like, yeah, I ended up watching the whole show from beginning to end. I mean, I still didn't become like I have to buy the toys, I have to get the shirts, but I enjoy it a lot. Like, wow, at this point, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles for me was like another cartoon, but I'm really into this one. I don't know why, but this one really caught my attention.
Yeah, that was me and My Little Pony Gen 4.
And well, something I have to say is I have heard all the theme songs, and yeah, the main theme of the 2012 version is easily the best one.
Yeah, definitely. They did a great job with it. But yeah, like I said, it's funny again how it's like a franchise that lay dormant for so long that everyone thought, oh, it's just gonna be an '80s fad, like oh, it's gonna be an '80s fad like He-Man. It's gonna be an '80s fad like the Wacky Wall Walker or something like that. But no, it actually endured, and I'm so glad, like I say, that it has because it's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely.
Yep. So basically, let's see. Stryker, what would your favorite Ninja Turtles movie / moments be?
Well, I have a bit of a story.
Okay.
Growing up, I was a massive Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles fan.
Nice.
Like, one of my earliest memories was when I was around 4 or 5. I was a huge fan of watching things on Saturday morning cartoons. I used to watch 4Kids a lot. Yeah, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2003. Those were the days for me.
I know.
And God, the moment Nickelodeon actually released the 2003 series on DVD, I was sold. I still need to buy it because for the longest time, you could not buy the series in America. Well, completely, that is. You can buy seasons 1 through 5, fast forward, but not this final season. You could only buy that in Australia for the longest time.
Huh.
However,
I did not know that. Huh.
However, thankfully, Nickelodeon released the full series.
Yeah, that probably helped out.
Yeah, and yeah, not just but yeah, like even though they didn't sell the final season before the Nickelodeon re-release, they did also sell Turtles Forever, thankfully.
Nice.
The
Nice.
special that was like to end the original series. But I'm just glad that I'm just super happy that they finally have a complete set. And I will be buying it one of these days because that's my favorite series of the Turtles.
I don't blame you.
Nice.
And of course, like when I found that I have an excuse to read the comics, I can see how accurate it is because I heard the 2003 series is super accurate to the comics.
I'll bet.
Huh.
Yeah, my pick is the 2003 series.
I definitely.
Nice.
Wow, I definitely can see why. So.
Hell yeah.
Yep, good one there. So, yep, now it is time for the patent pending Dragoness Scale, where we rank them from a 1 to 10, of course. And this time we're doing General Zera, and I honestly, I'm going to say this right now, I think she gets a 10. I honestly
Nice.
cannot see any flaws with her. She has a great design, she has great temperament, she has great, she basically, she fits in the setting while still being the most serious thing in it. And of course, let's be honest, the thickness does not hurt her in the slightest. And
Definitely.
yeah, as Math said earlier, Kate Mulgrew does such a great job voicing her. Like, she is like easily the standout of this. Like, I'm honestly shocked that no one has tried reanimating Star Trek basically to have Cosma and Zera show up together, because that'd be a lot of fun. Let's put it that way.
Definitely.
Yeah,
Yes.
but no, getting back to her though, yeah, I cannot think of a single flaw with her. It's not one of those things like last week with Queen Elsmere from Spellbound, where I found a little nitpick. I could not do that with her. So yeah, perfect score for me. Don't let that influence your decision though. So it's all good.
Yep.
Angron, what would you give her?
Speaking of nitpicks, if the only one I really have about her is that I want to see more of her, see her more fleshed out a little bit and doing more, then honestly that speaks volumes to how much I truly love her. I agree with everything. Her design's amazing. The fact that she's an alien dino without a tail, and that definitely works because, let's be fair, she's an alien dino without a tail. And also, again, Kate Mulgrew's voice works. Just everything about this works. Again, she's a serious character in a show that's absolutely goofy, and yet she does not detract or clash with anything in this. Like, one moment she could be as stark serious as possible, and the next moment she's just like could be like sitting on the couch watching the Super Bowl with her soldiers, and it would 100% be worth watching. So yeah, I'm definitely gonna have to give her a 10 out of 10 on that merit alone. Also the design and the comedy.
Awesome. Yep. Will she be the fourth one? We will have to see. Let's see. Math, what would you give her?
Oh
Here comes the
God!
Killjoy.
All good. No problem. It just makes it more special when we do get one. Plus, we only got one. Sorry, go ahead.
So I really do love her design. I cannot express that enough, that the way that she is designed, well, all the Triceratons are well-designed characters in this, but her in particular, I love how distinct she looks compared to everyone else. And I do feel that the animators particularly enjoyed making her as well. Once again, damn
They
well
all
is she thick. I do appreciate when dinosaur designs are like that, where it's they aren't just like dinosaur in human body. It's actual like we made them proportional, so they are as thick and large as you would expect a dinosaur humanoid to be. So that's always a plus. Kate Mulgrew nails this. She it starts with the regalness that I said that she always brings to her roles, and then in a complete character reversal, she goes for the yucks and does it really well. I was not expecting that, and that was very appreciated, which is kind of why I'm landing on a 9, because for as much as I'm singing the praises of this, for as much as I loved it, for as much as there was not a bad thing about this character, she got about 5 minutes of screen time and 20 lines of dialogue.
I get ya. I get ya.
Yeah, I understand. I understand. She could, like, I understand. If she was more predominant, like, if she showed up, like, say at the beginning or something like that, I could easily see why you give her a 10 out of 10. But I personally feel for what she had, she was so good that didn't bug me. But again, like I say, it's all good. It's all good because 9 out of 10 still is perfectly good enough. Let's see.
Yeah, if she got just 2-3 minutes more or some more dialogue rather than just pure facial expressions, this would have been an insta 10. But with how little it was, I felt a little bit.
Yeah,
I
we
can
all kind of
understand,
did
I
feel
can
a little
understand.
cheated, but hey, 9 out of 10 ain't bad, so props.
Definitely not. So let's see. Shark, what would you give her?
Similar vein, she was almost a close one, like really close. Like, yeah, the design is great. The fact that she's like, oh, this serious character, but only at the battle she eventually goes into a comedy mode, becoming, the strip to her underwear or cheering when she's about to get eaten. But yeah, and there's a bit of low time of screen time, but hey, from what side, it doesn't lower the score for me much because she gets a lot to do in that little time she has. But of course, she also leaves me wishing there was more of her. However, I think the reason I can go with a perfect 10 with her is because there's a character that did what she did way better, and that's Triceratops.
Yes, I
Indeed.
hear what you're saying.
Yeah. And it's
I
like,
feel that.
yeah, it's like if I give this character a 10, it will mean I find it on the same level as her, and it's like, nah, Triceratops did so much better work with the whole Dino Commander thing, so I'm gonna have to give her a 9, almost perfect, but someone did her job way better.
Yeah, no, I hear what you say. Plus, Triceratops is only like a few weeks ago, so kind of makes sense. Don't want to make it to throw out 10s too willy nilly, but I understand. Anyway, Stryker, what would you give her?
Yeah, I'm going with I'm kind of on the same line as not as Math and Shark, a 9, because
Okay, all good.
she definitely needs more screen time. This is a
Definitely more
perfect-
screen time.
It's a perfect character that it's once again a really good character that gets not enough screen time.
I feel that.
Easily. Yeah, I can see where it's coming from there. But that's probably going to be it for this week. But before we say the thing, I have to say one thing. To quote Phyllis, the biggest idiot of the episode was Michelangelo. Oh, wait, this isn't the next mutation.
Nice.
But yeah, if you have any questions, or if you want to tell us what version of the Turtles Zera should have appeared in, feel free to email us at fiorydiscourse@outlook.com. Visit us on Twitter at twitter.com/fiorydiscourse. Visit us at Blue Sky at Blue Sky Fiery Discourse. Be sure to subscribe to the Fiery Discourse YouTube channel and subscribe to the playlist. Hit the bell icon, leave a comment. Any and all comments are appreciated. Also, one of our co-hosts, Lucky Evie, is looking to get to a group home to the UK. That will also be in the description. Next week, we'll be talking about something that I never thought we would be talking about in this podcast, because we're going to be talking about the 1999 The Simpsons episode, Monty Can't Buy Me Love.
Oh boy. Dope.
Definitely going to be, definitely going to be very interesting. Yep, going to be a lot of things to talk about with this one. Well, if it isn't my old friends, the Simps. Yeah, but that'll be next week. That'll definitely be interesting. A lot of stuff to talk about that. But till then, thank you so much for watching, and see you then.
Laters.
Later.
Adios. See you all next week.
Cowabunga. I'm not saying the Spanish version.
Yeah, I hear you. I hear you. So, see you all next week.